This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live. We have a phenomenal show for you here on a Wednesday. JT Ginn is going to join us in moments. His first career win, his first start of the year, getting called up, huge for him. And you know how much I've talked about him and just love his overall game. So JT Ginn will join us in moments. And then also, the rage is all Sody, but it's also Nick Kurtz. Nick Kurtz will be joining us. Is he actually in? Where is it? Where are the Aviators as we speak?
They're at home. They played tonight. They played a day game yesterday once. They're playing tonight.
So we will have Nick Kurtz from Las Vegas. He'll join us at 2:30. And then our interview I did with Steve Sachs and Ron Darling, one of the great color guys in our game, personalities in our game, unbelievable career, played for the A's, of course, won the World Series with the Mets in 1986. We see him on MLB Network all the time. Absolutely love Ron Darling. But the story is simply this. It is Tyler Soderstrom.
Rooker at first, Butler at third. As Burke delivers, here's the pitch. That's swung on, drive to deep right field. Going back, Palacios, and it is gone! Tyler Soderstrom, a three-run homer. The A's lead it 3-0 here in the early going. What a shot. And that is number 7 on the year, and RBIs 12, 13, and 14 for Soderstrom. Rooker at first, Butler at third. As Penn Murphy at the belt. Now to the plate in the pitch. That's swung on, drive to deep right field. Just looking up is Palacios. He has done it again. A 3-run homer for Soderstrom, and the A's lead 9-3. Oh, is that ball well hit?
He's got 8 home runs on the year. Are you kidding me? Tyler Soderstrom is on fire. We have so many notes to go over. Lawrence Butler's calling him Babe Ruth. We have a lot to talk about with Tyler Soderstrom. We will get into that. I just want to play it for you in case you didn't hear it last night. What a special night for the Athletics. Getting a win to start the road trip is huge. And Tyler Soderstrom now 8 home runs to do it at 23 years old. All kinds of notes on that. But we will get back to that. Do we have JT? Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live, JT Ginn is with us. JT, how are you?
I'm good, Chris. How we doing?
I'm doing great, and obviously you getting called up and getting that first win. What did that mean? You've probably dreamt about this your entire life, to finally get a win in the big leagues.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to get up and pitch well enough to give the team to win, or the team a chance to win. And yeah, it was great. Great way to start off the year. No doubt about it. You know, when we talked to you at spring training, we knew you weren't going to make the ball club out of spring. But as I said you on camera, I said off camera, you're going to play a big part in the 2025 season. What was the mindset when you left Arizona and you head to Vegas? What was that mindset that you had? Because you got off to a great start with the Aviators. I felt great in spring, so it was really just trying to go down there and keep it rolling, and keep the same routine and keep the same things that I was working on and bring them into the season. So obviously you want to go down there and pitch well and win for the team that you're pitching on. So that was really my main goal, just go down there and try to win. And how great was it? You get off to that fantastic start, you have a couple starts, and then immediately you get called back up. Yeah, great. Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously that's where you want to be. I want to be up here playing and, just like I said, just try to keep it rolling and do the same things. When you think about success for you, so much for me is that you're healthy.
like everybody is known for so long, right? You had a great college career at Mississippi State. You drafted by the Mets, and it's just all been about health. What has it been like for you that you were able to train this offseason, you were able to come into spring, and it wasn't about rehabbing, it wasn't trying to figure out whether you're going to be healthy or not, that you came in full strength, ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, obviously feeling good is everything. That's our goal every day, is to go out there and feel the best as possible. And you put yourself in a chance to be really successful when you're feeling good. And going into the off season, having a full healthy year, and really having an idea of who I wanted to be when I came back in the spring, and just trying to execute that as best as I can.
So when you're able to be healthy and you're able to work on stuff, just talk about maybe things you have worked on. There's a little difference in you. Maybe it's stuff that you're working on, or maybe it's just mentality. What have you improved on since we last saw you last season to where you are now?
I think there's a few things. I think obviously my stuff is taking a tick up, and that helps a lot. But this offseason, the big thing was getting the slider a little more consistent, and adding another pitch, and I added the cutter, and that's been a really good pitch for me so far this year. So that was the big two things that I wanted to do going in. I wanted to add that other pitch, and then my slider is my best weapon, so I just wanted to get that more consistent.
Well, you had that sinker going on Saturday. It was fantastic. You had 9 ground ball outs. I think you had 4 strikeouts with it. And what's so interesting to me about that style of pitching is it just wreaks havoc for right-handed hitters. But as you said, slider, cutter, you do need something that goes away. And talk about this. As great as you can bust it in on righties, you do need something to get them out with it going away from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want to keep them honest. Obviously everybody's worried about the sinker from the right side. They're trying to, get out front, hit that pitch. So just having something to attack that other side of the plate and have something moving away from them is huge.
When you think of the show that you're seeing right now from the dugout, talk about the clubhouse and what people are saying about Tyler Soderstrom, who's leading baseball in home runs this year. You've played with him a lot, right? So, he's leading by 2. He's got 8 already in 17 games. It's amazing.
Yeah. He's swinging it really well. Everybody loves Sody. He's a great guy, and it's good to see him go out there and have that success. And I've only seen a short bit of it, but the 2 homers last night, it's awesome to see.
Yeah, he's been absolutely electric. Absolutely electric. Take us inside the clubhouse, right? It's an interesting start of the year, starting in West Sacramento this season. It's brand new to everybody. Now, all these games against the National League would seem kind of odd, but a big win last night, 12-3 on the road. This is a nice road trip in Chicago, then Milwaukee. Tell us what it's like in the clubhouse right now.
It's great. I feel like everybody's in high spirits, and everybody's working hard every day, and we're sticking to our routines. And I think that's the best thing we can do is keep the spirits up. Everybody's ready to go, ready to win, and just stick with the process and what we know works for us.
When we've seen the A's have their best pitching staffs, there's great communication amongst all the pitchers, whether it's the veterans with the younger guys. There's always that playful relationship. There's a lot of learning there. There's a lot of trust. So when you show up, who do you talk to on the staff, and who's really working with you beyond the coaches, but from the player standpoint?
I think we all have a good relationship with, every one of us. I think that was something that happened in spring for me. I felt like those guys, really, we talked a lot and got a lot better there, and kind of carried that over here. And, it's good to see those guys every day, and they're really smart. You got guys like Sevy and Springs that have been around a long time, and JP's a really good friend of mine too. And you just sit in the dugout, watch the games, and talk pitching.
What does that mean to you? Kind of different when you come up and you're feeling your way around versus you feel, hey, these guys are friends, these guys are teammates. Just being more comfortable inside that clubhouse that then helps you out on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it all comes to the mindset of wanting to win games, and we're going to help each other any way we can and put our, us and our team in the best position to win every day. I think that's all we can do.
Now, when you start looking at a lot of data that is out there, how much are you a data guy? How much do you delve into it? How much is it a part of your game? Some guys love it, some guys not. They just want a little bit of it. How do you utilize all the information that's presented to you?
Yeah, I think I'm a mix of both. I think for me, I have like a more old school mindset when I'm actually out on the mound. It's just a compete mindset. But while you're preparing and putting your work in throughout the week, obviously the data is is a big thing. Making sure your pitchers are moving how you want them to move, and how to attack guys too. There's a ton of data on hitters, and how your stuff is going to play versus them, and that's kind of how I do my scouting reports. But yeah, I think I'm a mix of both. I like to turn off the thinking and the data when I'm out there competing, but while I'm preparing, that's definitely a big part of it.
I love that, because I agree. It has to be both, right? Because, some hitters, they got their strengths. All hitters have their strengths. They have their weaknesses, but you have your strengths and you have and whatever weakness there may be, but you got to go with your strengths. At the end of the day, you got to go with what got you here and how you feel comfortable getting guys out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every game is different too. So you're going to go out there and sometimes it's not going to go the way you planned it. So being able to, adapt on the fly and just compete in the moment and play the game that is in front of you on that day. And I think that's a big part for me.
Well, I told you in spring training, I was like, hey, man, you're going to be a big part of this. We know you're going to be back up. It's great to have you up. And don't lose that swagger. That's one thing I talk about on this show all the time about you. This kid's got swagger. That's how you got drafted where you got. That's why you're drafted out of high school, why you drafted out of college. And now that you're healthy, it's why you got here. Swagger is your part of your game. Do not lose that.
Yeah, we'll keep it rolling, man.
JT, great to have you on, man. Be well. We'll see you back in Sacramento.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
JT Ginn. I dig that kid. He's a talent. I've said he reminds me a lot of Kendall Graveman, not in personality, but in stuff. Kendall's how tall is JT? Because what was Kendall? Kendall was like 6'2", 6'3". He was decent size.
JT is 6'2".
He's 6'2". What was great? Is Graveman 6'2"? God, my comparison might even be better than I thought.
Well, and they both went to Mississippi State. So
correct. They're both Bulldogs.
On the mound and in college.
Don't do it. Don't you cheat.
By the way, I'm going to stay off camera until we have Nick Kurtz done, so I don't have to worry about changing
When's
everything.
Nick Kurtz?
In another 15 minutes.
Why don't you're not going to come on camera?
6'2", also for Graveman.
So my comparison is getting better by the moment, because I like to compare them. Obviously, they went to the same school, but that's not the same. I thought Graveman was a little bit taller than him, but obviously the same size. It's their stuff is the same. It's so similar. When Kendall Graveman, especially Kendall Graveman, when he turned into this really good reliever, Kendall Graveman, who is, by the way, a 2-time opening day starter for the Athletics. Remember, Sonny Gray got food poisoning, and Kendall Graveman 1 year filled in for Sonny Gray as the opening day starter. But the strength of Kendall Graveman was 2 pitches. And he threw his sinker, just a power sinker, kind of the same thing. Basically everybody's throwing it really, really hard now. We were so used over the years, when Greg Maddux was carving people up, and it's a 2-seam fastball. So a 4-seam fastball, it goes straight. That is your straight fastball. The 2-seam fastball is you're going to have dip on it. And usually for a right-handed pitcher, it's going to dip into a right-handed hitter and away to a left-handed hitter. We used to see for years Greg Maddux would throw it at the left hip of a hitter and it would come back into the strike zone, but it's always going to come back arm side for the right-handed pitcher or arm side for the left-handed pitcher. And both Kendall Graveman and JT Ginn have that. It's a gift. It's natural. It's that natural 2-seam run that you have that causes right-handed hitters fits. Because right-handed hitters, the way they swing, just the dynamics of it, they don't normally like the ball down and in the way left-handed hitters do it. Left-handed hitters a lot of times have a little bit of a longer swing, and they can just drop the barrel straight down on the inner half and take it out of the ballpark. Right-handed hitters are different. So that really is a zone underneath the hands of a right-handed hitter, and down and into a right-handed hitter makes them uncomfortable. That is a huge strength. As we know, guys want to, as Cody would say, elevate and celebrate.
You're damn right, elevate and celebrate.
Elevate and celebrate. It's tough to elevate and celebrate that. So what ends up happening is that the right-handed hitters will start to cheat because that's a struggle pitch for them. So now we need something. What Kendall Graveman had wasn't great, got better when he left the Athletics and became a reliever, but you got to have something that now breaks away from right-handed hitters. And that is something JT Ginn has. Slider, cutter, two different versions. One is going to have more of a vertical break. And I hate doing that because I know so many people now, everybody's trying to talk about spin rates and vertical and horizontal, but one that's going to break down and away more is the best way to put it, to simplify it, from right-handed hitters. And a cutter is more, it's really like a fastball and doesn't really move. A good cutter doesn't move all that much, but just moves enough. So basically, you're able to pound the right-handed hitter in, and you're able to go away with them with a bigger slider or a cutter to keep them on us on the outer half. Where it gets tricky is when you're facing left-handed hitters, because the way baseball works now, you're going to have a lot of if you're JP Sears, you're going to face mostly a right-handed lineup. If you're a right-handed guy, you're going to get everybody's lefty. So the good thing is that whether you're throwing that slider or that cutter to the lefty, what you want to do to the left-handers, you don't want to go down and in. That's their happy zone. You want to keep it underneath their hands. Left-handed hitters don't like it right underneath their hands, coming right into the knob. They don't like it. That's how you jam the hell out of them, right? You better go get a torpedo bat. Now, you hang it, you're in trouble, but you want to come in with your breaking stuff if you're JT Ginn, or the same way Kendall Graveman did. You want to pound them in with that, but then you dominate them with that power sinker going away. Because a ball down and away, sinking like that to a left-handed hitter, that's got ground ball to shortstop written all over it all day long. You can't elevate and celebrate that.
He's going to use that all the time, though.
I know. I love that.
I mean, that was the Bomba Squad that started when they first started doing the elevate and celebrate and the launch angle revolution of baseball in 2019. That's where that phrase started getting big, and then now it's just kind of stuck around because the home run's kind of cool again.
Well, the sinker got a little scary because we went through a thing called the steroid era, and it really didn't matter what you threw. They could go down and get it and knock it out of the ballpark. So that's what led to people starting to throw four-seam fastballs up in the zone. Now, a ball physically cannot rise. So whenever you hear people say a guy has a rising fastball, they're lying to you, because there is no such thing. Because on this planet, we have something called gravity. Whatever goes up will come down. So when the ball leaves the pitcher's hand, it is very hard for the human eye to detect. As you know, we're doing a lot of neuro testing and the neuroscience of baseball. It's like, what does the hitter see? Well, a fastball that's up, that has the spin, that can stay, that doesn't, I guess, come down because of gravity as much, it looks like it's rising to a hitter. And it's very hard for a human being to decipher, should I swing or not, when the ball is up in the zone. That's why you see so many hitters. First of all, you should pretty much always take it, because it's going to be very hard to hit that fastball. If it's got velocity, it's very hard to hit it when it's up in the zone. Really, really hard, because it's going actually fast. When the ball is up in the zone, it's going faster than when it is down in the zone, velocity-wise. I mean, not a crazy amount, but it's faster. But it's been proven that it's hard for the human eyes to see it, understand. That's why you see a lot of guys just take it. Or when they do swing at it, it looks like you're just throwing it right by him, because it's so hard for the human eyes to see it and to tell the body, swing. They're proving that. And I'm glad we're starting to get those kind of numbers, because I think that tells you a lot about what pitchers need to do, because we're so worried. We cover baseball and we're so worried about how do we attack a hitter, his weaknesses. Well, there are certain weaknesses that are just from brain to eyes to tell body. Like the hitter only has so much time to decide, is this a pitch I should swing at? Should I swing at it? Go. And they're finding out that fastball up in the zone kind of plays tricks on a hitter's eye. It's very hard for the brain to decide whether you should swing at it or not. That's why they always look late. It's just it's a deceptive thing for the human eye. And we're starting to get this kind of information, which I think is interesting. But now that we're out of the steroid era and now guys are getting tested all the time, are there still guys? Well, of course. There's still guys that are using PEDs, but it's not like what it used to be, right? Profar just got popped on opening day. So there's still guys that are doing it, but we're not seeing it. I mean, you're really taking a lot of risks, right? And the difference is now, if guys are really doing it, I know that Profar was using a female fertility drug, the same one Manny Ramirez. I'm sure that Profar wasn't trying to get pregnant. Neither was Manny Ramirez.
Well, I remember when Manny did it and how big of a deal that was. What was that?
That was in LA.
Oh no, 2010, 09.
It was Manny Wood, if you remember back.
Well, because he took over baseball when he went from the Red Sox to Dodgers, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, is Manny trying to get pregnant? It's a masking agent. So with guys not on roids, see, in the steroid, now what they do is they mask testosterone, right? And I've learned how to do it. Yeah, I've learned how to do it. I don't do it, but I know how they do it. So basically, when they test your testosterone, a male testosterone, you have levels, right? So there's ways that some guys, if you're going to chance it, can beef up their testosterone level that's during the game, hope they don't get tested after the game, and by the time they get to the ballpark the next day, they'll come back into the levels of more normal. When they pop you is when they test you and your testosterone levels through the roof, and there's only, that the human body only produces so much testosterone, and as you get older, it doesn't produce any for a male anymore, hardly any. So they know the range is 4-1. Once you get like over 4-1, there's ways to do it. Maybe someday I'll get more into it. There's ways to do it, I know, but the point is, celebrate and elevate is much tougher to do. So the sinker's back, baby. You see it every night. It's 95, 96. I'd rather have 95, 96 and sinking than throwing down the middle 98, 99, because hitters will time that. And if you throw something straight down the middle, they'll get you. So the sinker is so back. You still want to elevate because you want to live. You got to live in the strike zone, as players know their strike zone more than ever before. So you've got to be able to pitch north, south, and east, west. So it's key that you at least show a guy like JT Ginn, who's going to sink and cut everything. You at least got to show that you can pitch at top of the zone, but you're going to live at the bottom of the strike zone. As my old pitching coach used to say at San Jose State, build a house. That's your foundation. Bottom of the strike zone is where you build your house, the foundation. You can go up to show you got it, but you live down there. And I'm glad you got him today, Cody. I love JT Ginn. I see him once again. He's got the swagger Joey Estes needs.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in spring training, and then you talked to him, and he confirmed to us that, well, one, he was back, and two, that he was starting on Saturday when we saw him at West Sacramento at the ballpark, walking by his set.
If you weren't watching that show, JT, is he starting? And all of a sudden, JT Ginn walks by our set with his luggage and his baseball gear, and we're like, well, we can report he's here. And I looked up live on the show, hey, are you starting? He goes, yes. I didn't need Marcotte to tell me. I got straight from JT Ginn.
Plus, he's making a second start there on Friday in Milwaukee. That's a 5-10 game, I believe.
And did you watch MLB Network today? Spencer Strider made his debut against the Toronto Blue Jays. Who is pitching for the Blue Jays?
I didn't see, but I'm going to take a guess. It was Chris Bassett.
Who did the Athletics get JT Ginn for?
Chris Bassett.
It's amazing how these trades live on, because that really – trading Chris Bassett to the Mets seems like forever ago.
Yeah, what was it? Beginning of the 20? They're in the 22, going into the 22 season, right?
So he got traded early.
Then it was Olsen and
Chapman, and then the last was Manaea, and we were there in the clubhouse when Manaea got traded to the Padres and pitched against the Padres that very same day. But I will never forget Sean Manaea walking into the A's clubhouse in Mesa, and he's in tears. He was in absolute tears. I think I was doing an interview with Dalton Jeffries, and I'm sitting there doing the interview, and Manaea comes walking in, and he's crying. And I remember Sean Murphy went over. Frankie Montas went over, and it was like, wow, man, this is really. And I'll never forget Sean Manaea being such a cool dude. I love Sean Manaea. That's why we always keep Sean Manaea's bobblehead up at the home studio. I have a lot of respect for him as a man and a person and who he is. And he's been very, very, very good to us over the years. I went over to the Padres locker room. I don't know if you remember this. So Sean Manaea gets traded to the Padres that day in spring. He's supposed to start against the Padres, gets traded to the Padres, and since he was supposed to throw that day, the Padres said, well, we'll just keep you on your turn. So Manaea goes out there in the green cleats, the green glove, pitches, and then goes to throw more in the bullpen. I go into the Padres, into their clubhouse there in Mesa, and the Padre people are looking at me like, because I got my A stuff on, and the Padre people are looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm going to interview Sean Manaea, and they was like, okay. But it was very awkward, right? Because during the game, non-Padre personnel, what's this guy doing in our clubhouse? And Manaea comes up, and I'm like, Sean, can I get a word with you? And he was so gracious. He was emotional. He had tears in his eyes during the interview. And the fact that he still did the interview with me when he was that emotional after pitching against his old team, all of his old buddies, because that team from 18, 19, 20, 21, that was a tight group under Bob Melvin. And I will never forget being in that clubhouse, seeing the tears in his eyes, talking about what it meant for him to come from Kansas City over to the A's, all those, the no-hitter, the playoffs, the relationships. That was a special interview, and I'll never forget that. And I love Sean Manaea, and these trades live forever, by the way. So getting back to JT Ginn, I mean, the Chris Bassett trade still lives, and JT Ginn could be somebody that's in this rotation for years to come, because this kid's got swagger, boy. He's got some swag. We had some of him and Joey Estes, because I still believe in Joey Estes. You just got to figure out, but those are two young guys that could be around for a long time. Nick Kurtz next. We're going to Vegas, baby. Nick Kurtz, the future, and the future could be soon. We talk to him next right here on A's Cast Live.
A's shortstop Jacob Wilson joined Towny on A's Cast Live to discuss the hitting insights he's gained from his father, Jack.
The main thing for me has always been the hands. Being able to push the hands back into a certain slot that I want him to be in to produce as much force as I can. We talked about kind of throwing a punch. Like you don't want to throw it from a very small angle. You want to really wind
static.
Out.
You don't want to be still static.
Yeah, you don't want to static. You kind of want to reach back and be able to produce as much power as you can. So that's always kind of where the hands come from. Being able to push the hands back and really getting into that stance when you want to hit is kind of like a basketball defender. You don't want to be you don't want to stand up too much because the guy can go around you. You don't want to be too low. You kind of want to be right in that sweet spot. So just being able to get to that point and being able to get the hands back where they need to be and just being ready to hit. These guys throw a lot of strikes. They throw a lot of good pitches. So just be able to be as good spot as I can is kind of the main approach.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Here's the pitch, and it's a hit. Folsom Lake Ford has stepped up again, winning the Triple Crown Award, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, now 7 years in a row. Folsom Lake Ford is a top sales leader in the U.S., along with being top in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Now that's a home run. Don't miss the huge savings on your favorite models at your truck headquarters. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall.
A's right fielder Lawrence Butler joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live in West Sacramento and revealed the team's mindset heading into the 2025 season.
We have a different mindset than we did in the past couple of years. I mean, we're not, like Kurtz mentioned it in spring training, kind of the previous years it was kind of like next man up, we didn't really know who was going to be on the team. We didn't know who was playing where. But, this year we're coming into it with a lot of solidified spots. And, we're looking to have some real high expectations from a lot of the guys in the clubhouse. So, I mean, it's just a different team. If you watched us this past weekend, you saw that we were a different team. We played like a different team. We carried ourselves like a different team. And, it's just going to carry on for the rest of the season.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast. Get your group together and check out all our great hospitality spaces for bonding opportunities, events, or a fun outing of your friends and family. There are 20, 50, and 100-person indoor suites available for select games, as well as an 80-person open-air area with a shaded cover. Secure your group today at athletics.com/hospitality.
A's Cast Live continues from NBC Sports. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, we've been waiting for this interview for a while. We told Nick Kurtz, we're going to follow you everywhere you go. It doesn't matter what level, A's Cast Live will be there with them. And he now joins us on the program. The Aviators are taking on the Skeeters in Texas, just outside of Houston. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Well, your ears got to be burning because a lot of people are talking about you. Have those ears been burning? Have you been feeling it?
A little bit. I try to do my best not to pay attention to it, but it's inevitable a little bit.
Well, yeah, when you've played, when you've had 102 at-bats in the minor leagues, you're hitting 353, 11 home runs, and a 1,207 OPS. A lot of people are going to be talking about it. Just what has the start like been in AAA for you this year in 2025?
Yeah, it's always good to get off to a good start. When you start the season off and you feel like you're in mid-season form right away. A lot of that's just timing. I believe a lot of it's just, getting hot at the right time. And thankfully, through spring training, at the end of it, I started feeling like myself. And then season started, and it was just everything just clicked.
Yeah, you played in so many games with the big league guys. You were with us at Big League Weekend against the Diamondbacks in Las Vegas. So how much did that help you being around the big league guys for so long, playing so many games this spring, really help you with the start there in Las Vegas for the Aviators?
Yeah, just being in the locker room with a lot of guys who've been in my shoes, who knows what it takes to get to the next level and how to succeed at this level as well. It was really helpful just being by them every day, and then also just seeing the type of talent and pitching that I saw in big league camp. Those are guys I face every day in AAA. So just getting used to that, seeing those pitches got me really prepared for what came.
Now you've blown through everywhere real quick. Stockton, then on to Midland, now to Las Vegas. Has there been a big change in anything from level to level pitching? Have you seen big differences? Because the numbers show you haven't really struggled whatsoever, and it's all been a lot of success.
Yeah, to kind of see now, AAA level, there's definitely a difference. You're not always going to get the pitch you're looking for. They're not always going to make a mistake. These guys have kind of been there and done that, and they know how to pitch around and kind of how to nibble and get the corner, especially with the challenge system nowadays. You can't, if a pitch is touching barely by anything, it's going to get called a strike. So they definitely know how to pitch better than a lot of the other levels, but something I haven't experienced.
Is it hard to stay away from all the noise on social media with everybody talking about you? Because I know you guys, you guys are always looking at it. It's hard not to, but for you, do you want to completely stay away? Do you follow what people are saying about you? How do you handle it?
So can you say that again? You cut out a little bit. I didn't get that.
I was just talking about social media, how do you deal with it? Because there's so many people talking about you, and there's a lot of talk. Like we ran a poll here on NBC for all the fans. When do you think Nick Kurtz is going to be here? I mean, there's a lot of talk about you on social media. Are you seeing it, or is it something that you just try and stay away from?
Definitely try to stay away from it, even just from last year being in college and knowing that could be a top draft pick. I kind of deleted Twitter, turn off the notifications just so I kind of would separate myself from that. At the same time, it's not my decision to make either. It's that decision's way above my pay grade. I'm just here to play baseball and have fun and try to win every day.
You deleted your Twitter account? I don't think you can hear it.
Yeah, I did.
Can you hear it?
Last year I did. Yeah.
Oh, I got to tell you,
I get bits and pieces.
I got frozen on Twitter, basically my old account. I can't tell you how great it's been to really not delve too much into Twitter. It's pretty refreshing, isn't it?
It's very refreshing, to kind of just disconnect from all the outside noise and just kind of do my job every day, just show up and play as hard as I can. So it's been really nice.
I talk about it all the time, especially on the post-game show, about you being an advanced hitter. A lot has to do with your training at Wake Forest, as you guys had everything you needed. When you think about all the data, all the technology, Wake Forest had it. Try and just kind of teach everybody out there, all the A's fans, about, what you guys had in college that's really helped prepare you to step in and have the success that you've had in the minor league so far.
Yeah, I mean, I know my junior year, we added cleaning tracks to the stadium, which is like kind of goes through all your things and kind of can tell you certain mechanics and certain things that you do to the ball that can either help or not help you. It's kind of the easiest way I can say it. And then all the analytics we had when it comes to opposing pitchers and coming up with scouting reports and game plans, that kind of taught me how to kind of do a little bit on my own here when I got to the next level, and made it, I can use the information that they give me plus what I learned from Wake Forest, and then I can kind of come up with my own plan and kind of know what I need to do or what I will do well against a pitcher where I have a hole against a pitcher. I can kind of know that before I even face them.
So obviously, when we look at the numbers, there hasn't been a whole lot of struggles for you at any level so far. But what do you think you need to work on? What do you think you need to get better at, whether it's offensively or defensively?
Yeah, I think a little bit of everything. I think there's always times where you can get better at certain things. Defensively, just being more consistent, having the confidence out there defensively to kind of, I think that's a big thing. Confidence is just something that, you need to do with yourself. I think that can always be worked on and always be improved. Maybe cutting down the strikeouts a little bit. I've had this short stint in AAA, seeing, and chasing a little bit less, not missing the pitches that I'm on early in counts. I think that stuff can always be improved as well.
So we know you're a very accomplished first baseman. We know you got that down, but there is talk like, well, if you bring up Nick Kurtz, Tyler Soderstrom right now leads all of baseball in home runs. If Nick Kurtz was to play somewhere else, if you were not to play first base, where do you feel most comfortable defensively?
If it wasn't first, it'd be a corner outfield position. I did that a little bit in high school, and then when I got to Wake Forest, I started in the outfield. So, I have done it before. It's been a little bit while, but, I feel like anything can happen with a little bit of practice, a little bit of time out there.
I like that. Big Nick Kurtz. Are you going to be, you got the arm to be gunning guys? You got that kind of arm? You're going to get a lot of put outs out there?
Honestly, I have no idea. I've only focused on throwing the ball from first to second base, so we'll check that out too.
Just posing guys at second base, that'd be great. How comfortable are you DHing? Some guys can take to it. Some guys absolutely hate it. Where are you on DHing?
Yeah, I enjoy DHing. Something also you got to get used to that I've gotten a little bit more used to once I got here. I've DH'd a couple times, and I kind of like it. You have a rough at bat or you feel something in your swing, you go up right to the cage and kind of work on it like that. So that's something I have become more comfortable with as well.
If you had to play left or right, if I said tonight you got a choice, left or right, where do you think you'd be more comfortable in the corner outfield?
I don't know. Left, maybe. I think left. Yeah.
Nick, I'm trying to do everything I can to get you up here. I'm trying to figure out how do I get you up here as soon as possible, because we talked about this in spring. It's like, you're going to be here, man. You're going to be here soon. We can't wait. How's playing for our guy Fran Reardon? We absolutely love the manager down there for the Aviators.
Yeah, he's awesome to play for. We have fun every day, and he's kind of I think I mentioned this before, but kind of best of both worlds. When you need to be motivated, he's going to motivate you. When you need a little bit of loving, he's going to love you a little bit too. So it's been great playing for him down here. We've had a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, because the interesting thing about AAA is you got a mix, right? You do have some young guys, but you also got some guys. You got real veteran guys that have been in pro ball a long time, who are a lot older than you are. So now you're traveling with these guys that are a lot older. What has that experience been like? Guys who have big league experience.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. You can. Now you hear stories about the big leagues, then you forget, like, oh, that guy right there, he's been there. Oh, he's been there too. He can tell me, or this guy too. I'm like, wow, I'm surrounded by a bunch of guys who've been there and done that, like I said, in spring training. So just talking to them and learning from them too, it's kind of been great. They've all played with a bunch of different great baseball players, great hitters. So just, kind of picking their brain. What did he do? What was one of the things that he did and stuff like that.
Well, be aware. Don't get sucked into some of those card games. Some of these guys are card sharks. You got to make sure if we invite you to the back of the plane or in the clubhouse, you got to make sure you protect yourself. Some of these guys have been playing cards a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, it's great to have you on. Like I told you, it's spring. We're gonna, we're gonna follow you everywhere you go, and hopefully, we'll follow you all the way to the big leagues here soon. We're watching every night, watching what you're doing, and a lot of A's fans are very, very excited about you. Smart. Turn off the social media. Do what you need to do, and we'll see you up here in Sacramento hopefully soon. But keep killing it down there. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Awesome. Thank you. Good to talk to you.
Take care, Nick. That right there with Tyler Soderstrom, with Jacob Wilson, with Lawrence Butler, that is the future. I mean, you look at Tyler Soderstrom in 2023, Tyler Soderstrom in 45 games had a 472 OPS. 2024 in 61 games had a 744 OPS. This year, 2025, Tyler Soderstrom has a 1,137 OPS. Multi-home run games, 3 so far. I mean, the list of guys. So players to have 3 multi-home run games in the first 17 games of a season. Teoscar Hernandez, Carlos Delgado, the great Reggie Jackson in 1974, and then Ken Keltner in 1948. First player aged 23 or younger with 3 multi-home run games in the first 17 games of a season. He's the first. No one's ever done that. Ever. And it's amazing. Now, the year that you really look at where Reggie Jackson was on pace to go after Roger Maris was 1969. Reggie hit 47 home runs. He had all those home runs by the All-Star break and then just fell apart. Still had a great year. But Reggie threw those 17 games in 1969 because right now Tyler's on pace for, I want to say it's like 85 home runs or something like that.
Yeah, I heard you talking about it on postgame last night on Ace Talk. You were using our old home run calculator.
Yeah, the home run calculator's got him on pace for like 85 home runs. Reggie threw 17 games in 1969, had 6 home runs, 11 RBIs, but was only hitting .216. Tyler's doing it all. And remember, against the Mets, he made a bunch of outs that were line shots. So even his outs are incredible. Do you have the Lawrence Butler on what he said?
Yeah, it's only like 9 seconds, but we have it.
Yeah, this is last night after the game because these guys, they've all played together, right? They've been in the minor leagues together. That's what we've talked about. Like, these guys know each other. They've played well together. This is a core coming up. Here is Lawrence Butler on Tyler Soderstrom.
And I mean, I've seen him do it low A, high A, double A, triple A, and I mean, he's doing it in the big league. So he's Babe Ruth for us right now. So hope he keeps it going.
You mean the guy that's literally at the top of every statistical category when you look back at, the modern stats, batting average, home runs, RBIs, and the advanced stats, OPS plus, WRC plus, everything. Yeah. That same Babe Ruth?
Well, I thought they developed all those sabermetrics because they wanted to prove that the old guys weren't as good as the modern day players. It's really what happened, right? They wanted to see how do we really evaluate players. So they came up with all these metrics and they realized, oh yeah, Babe Ruth's still first in everything. Basically,
pretty much, yes. And Soderstrom, if you look at like the hard hit percentage, all that stuff, he's towards the tops on all of them.
His chase rate is down,
which is good to see.
29.2 to 23.2. I mean, some of these numbers they bore you. His whiff rate is down from 30.1 to 25.6. What'd you have the notes about? You had another one in here. Can't remember you had it in here. It wasn't strikeout rate, or what'd you have in it?
I had all that stuff a long time ago. I didn't put anything in there today. I don't think.
So whiff rate down, chase rate down, making hard I don't need, you know what? You know what's great about all these rates and Baseball Savant?
Oh, his strikeout rate's 18.1%, which is below the league average.
I don't need these rates. I just watch the game. He's killing it.
Yeah.
I mean, he is absolutely dominating right now, and it's fun to watch. And Lawrence Butler out of nowhere with a couple more hits. Lawrence Butler's having a great month. I want to highlight that. Lawrence Butler has 14 hits in his last 37 at bats. That's a 378 average. For the month of April, he's hitting 349. His on base is fantastic. His OPS plus 100 being league average. Basically, you're a guy at 100. He's at 145. He is not far away. 160 OPS plus. Rooker got well over that last year. That's when you're like the elite of the elite. Yep. And Lawrence Butler would be there if he had more power. He only has one home run. He had the one home run in Colorado. But
much better player on the road so far.
He's got a 403 on base percentage. He's got a 403 for a leadoff guy. Once Butler starts hitting for more power, his numbers are going to be absolutely elite. So you look at Jacob Wilson, you look at Tyler Soderstrom, you look at Lawrence Butler, and these young guys they're carrying this team right now. But it shows the excitement and the excitement that should be. And this is why I'm going to bring this up. I debated last night. Yes, I was on my phone last night and I shouldn't have been, but while I was driving home. But this popped up and this fried me. This absolutely fried me. And it's why if there are times where I upset people, I'm just going to tell you right now, I apologize if I've upset you. I apologize. But when you work in the environment I've had to work in and continue to work in, it's just the disrespect is unbelievable. Here's the title from CBSSports.com last night. Here's the title. MLB home run leader Tyler Soderstrom presents rare bright spot for athletics. Rare bright spot. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Everything about us, outside noise, is just always crapping on us. Now, how can you say that Tyler Soderstrom is a rare bright? Jacob Wilson just had the top hitting streak in baseball. Jacob Wilson is having a phenomenal year offensively and defensively. Baseball people who came to town that we saw in West Sacramento, like, we can't wait to see him. They know about his father. His father was an all-star. Lawrence Butler, I'm giving you these numbers of Lawrence Butler is playing at a really, really good level. He's not far from an elite level. And you're coming at us with a rare, this one guy is the rare bright spot. It's still us against the world. So I apologize if I've upset you, but you have to understand as a guy that's got to stand on this wall every day, yeah, you feel like it's us against the world because this stuff is garbage. It's just garbage. There's so much garbage that's put out there. It's so negative, and we're still going to be a few years away. It's not till we get to Las Vegas where I think we're all going to put this behind us until we get to that point. But that's a national story that went out last night because they're using Tyler Soderstrom as leading the league in home runs, 8 by more than all the other. There's a ton of guys tied at 6.
And then there's a guy in minor leagues with 7.
Nick Kurtz. Yeah, is Nick Kurtz not a bright spot? My God. I mean, there are some serious bright spots. And you put out and that was sent out to anybody who has the app for CBS Sports got that last night. So we all would have got it at the same time. So trust me, everybody in our industry gets this, and you see the title, Rare Bright Spot. That's garbage. If you think Tyler Soderstrom, Jacob Wilson, Lawrence Butler, these are not bright spots? Come on, man.
Yeah, it's
Mason Miller. All of a sudden, Mason Miller's not a bright spot anymore. We've already forgotten about Mason Miller.
I feel like it's clickbait in a way. I didn't realize the organization and the play on the field is as bad as what we're seeing in Colorado and on the South Side and watching the White Sox.
For God's sakes.
The White Sox have 5 guys in their lineup today at the top of their order that are hitting under 150.
A win today, you're 8-10. I mean.
And you have as many wins as the Astros, who are 4th.
Seriously.
Who I said are dead.
I mean, garbage. It's absolute garbage. So, and by the way, on the road this year, Athletics on the road, hitting 254, 15 home runs, 42 RBIs, and a 773 OPS.
Yeah.
As a team on the road, this is a great, you've played some really good teams. Obviously, the Cubs, the Padres, and the Mets are really good teams. You've played stiff competition. All right, you got to get better. Got to get better against the stiff. I like playing the stiff competition because you know where you are, right? What are you good at? What do you need to continue to be good at? And then what do you stink at? And what do you got to get better at? Like, you learn early, hey, if we're going to be as good as we think we're going to be, we have to be able to get better at X, Y, and Z. You learn that early. But a win tonight, you improved to 8-10, maybe sweep the White Sox. Now you're 9-10, going to Milwaukee. You could be leaving Milwaukee 500 or better. And then you're going to have rare bright spot. It's garbage.
Yeah, and you got the White Sox, you want to win the series, obviously. You want to win 2 out of 3. You want to sweep because you know how bad the White Sox really are. I mean, yeah, they won 2 games against the Red Sox, which that's on the Red Sox. I mean,
well, it's just anybody can beat anybody, right? It's
yeah.
like last year, last couple of years, you come play the A's, and the A's, they'd be like, oh, you got to play the A's. But you can anybody can take 2 out of 3 or 3 or 4 from anybody, or split a 2-game set. Anybody can beat anybody. So it's hard to sweep, no matter what the names are on the back of the jersey. It's hard to sweep, especially on the road.
Plus, the Red Sox were cursed by one of our good friends. It's a broadcaster for the Red Sox who shall be remain nameless.
Speaking of broadcasters, did anyone have a better night?
Oh, do you want to play? I have the video. I made this last night. I had to make sure we got it.
So last night was significant on A's Cast and the A's radio network. Why?
Because one of our guys made a catch.
That's part of it, but why was it significant?
Because Chris Carey made his debut, and Johnny was the A guy.
Johnny was the lead for the first time in his career for a Major League Baseball game, and Chris Carey was calling his first Major League Baseball game.
In Chicago. A lot of history there. So, first time ever being the lead, Johnny. First time ever calling a game, Chris Carey, and this happens.
Side of the rubbers at the belt. And the pitch. That swung on and fouled up here. Look out, we got it.
You did it! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Look!
I got one. I'm not throwing it back either.
Oh my goodness!
That is what makes our game special. Play-by-play guys are trained for the moment. They're trained to call the big home run, the big strikeout, the big defensive play. They're trained for that. What they're not trained for is the unexpected. And that was raw emotion right there. It was beautiful. Chris Carey was laughing like he was a 10-year-old boy. And Johnny was just, see? Do it again. He's 12 years old, 10 years old. And then Johnny was kind of in shock. This is something that doesn't happen. You're not trained for it. And that's the beauty of baseball. That is the beauty of our game, where something like that can happen. And everybody who knows Johnny D was so happy for him. And then you throw the extra layer on that our guy who does television, Dallas Braden, has been chasing the foul ball in the booth since he took over for Ray Fosse. He's been trying, and they talk about it ad nauseum. Oh, every single time it's close. He's jumping out of the press box to get it, right? I mean, Dallas is not dramatic. So the fact that Johnny does it way before Dallas Braden, and remember, Dallas and Johnny are really tight. They hang out a lot together. They compete in ping pong against each other.
They're ping pong, yes.
They're buddies, right? So for Johnny to get it before Dallas is just, it's so good. It's so good. The story was great. That was that. So you know what? A blowout 12-3 to start the road trip. Fantastic. And MLB Network last night highlighted the call, and then they had Dallas talking about it. So got the national love that it should get. And Tyler Soderstrom, great. Springs, not phenomenal, but you know what? Hey, listen, if you're going to hopefully start 30-something starts, there'll be good ones. There'll be not so good ones.
Gave you innings. He won 5.
Gave you the opportunity to win, right? And then Mitch Spence, that role, I think he's great in it. Like, I need innings, and I need you to get outs, and I need you to be the guy I need you to come in and take care of business and give me length out of the bullpen. And Mitch Spence has been fantastic the last 2 years doing that. And it saves the bullpen. So you had the day off Monday, and basically, I mean, Sterner got in for one. Sterner's going to join us Friday?
Yep, confirmed. Justin Sterner on the program Friday.
Okay, so you had Mitch Spence throw 3 last night to get the actual save, his first save. But really, that's 2 days when a lot of guys have worked a lot early because starters haven't been going deep. You just gave the bullpen basically 2 days off. And some guys didn't pitch Sunday, so that's 3 days off. So you've had some, you've had some time. Mason Miller's got to start getting in some games.
I was going to say, if anyone's rested in the A's bullpen, it's Mason Miller.
Hey, I mean, Mason Miller's got to be just like, my God, can I play?
It's like,
can I get in a game, Kurtz? Can I play?
I mean, I'm being facetious about it, but he pitched last Saturday at Coors Field, and he pitched, or 2 Saturdays ago, then he pitched last Saturday against the Mets. He could be on pace to pitch again Saturday. So what is he pitching? What is it, like a college pitcher every Friday night? You throwing your best guy out there? He's going to pitch
Friday guy. He's the Friday guy.
Well, hold on. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on A's Cast.
Coming up next, we will address Commander Cody's shirt. So if you're listening to today's program, we will explain. If you're watching it, you might be saying, why is he wearing that? Well, we'll explain next right here on A's Cast Live.
When it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is a 7-time Triple Crown Award winner, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall, FolsomLakeFord.com.
That ball is out of here.
A's shortstop Jacob Wilson joined Towny on A's Cast Live to share his approach when stepping into the batter's box.
Yeah, I go out there every day. You kind of have to have a different mindset up here. You're facing the best pitchers in the world pretty much. So just to be able to go up there and look for a pitch that you want to hit in a certain count, and kind of being able to go up there and have good battles against these pitchers. When they want to hit a spot, they usually tend to hit that spot, and you should try to capitalize on their mistakes. If they leave a slider hanging or leave a fastball down the middle, you just try to kind of attack on those pitches, because if you miss those, it's gonna be tough to get another one like that, because these guys up here are just so good. So you just try to go up there and just have good at bats. Try to get on base, try to put the ball in play, and more times you get on base, odds are you're gonna score more runs for your team. So kind of my mindset going into it, just going up there and having good at-bats.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game time, schedules, and more.
Calling all college and grad students. Grab your friends and head to the ballpark with this special offer. Save up to 50% off select regular season games throughout the 2025 season. Get your discounted tickets at athletics.com/student. Athletics DH Brent Rooker joined Towny on A's Cast Live during his extension press conference to discuss becoming the face of the franchise.
It's been a wild ride. It's
crazy.
Yeah, it's happened quick. In a sense, it feels like for me, in a sense, it's kind of taken a long time, obviously, because it took a little bit later into my career for things like this to start to develop. But it's been crazy. It's been fun. I owe a ton to this organization, the people in it, for giving me the opportunity that I was looking for a while, and I'm grateful I was able to take advantage of it and get to this point.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Become an A's insider today. Visit athletics.com/newsletter and sign up to receive the latest team highlights, up-to-date news.
Streaming from NBC Sports, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
I got a malfunction.
Well, you wanted to be fancy TV guy today with the IFB headset.
Okay, who would not agree with me? First of all,
I'm not a TV guy, so I'm one.
Our boss is freaked out about showing cords. So it's hard in this scenario right here.
He's not even here to defend himself. This is the way we do it.
Whatever. I mean, but like yesterday, the cord constantly kept pulling. So I'm like, and then you put it on top of your head and it makes a huge indentation in your hair. And then you got to go fit. Why not just do it this way?
That's why I can't say this is the whole reason, but this is one of the reasons why I'm letting my hair grow out again, because my hair doesn't wear my hair being messed up. When I have the product in and all that, it does mess it up. That what does drive me crazy.
So my Warriors with the win last night in the play-in game.
How do you have a 5-second violation on an inbound pass? I mean, that's Bush League.
Well, some of us were watching the A's game and we didn't see it. The
A's game was over. You were working. So,
yeah, I'm still working. It must be nice when you just go home.
But that was like 9:30 when that was going on.
Well, yeah. What do you think? I got to drive
traffic.
home. I mean,
you were in the Warrior traffic.
You only got to work this show, and then you go home and pop seltzers all night. All right. Cody is wearing an official Light the Beam Sacramento Kings shirt that we got at G1C. For you non-Sacramento people, that's the Golden One Center. Which we went when they played the Nuggets, and we got Light the Beam shirts. You are repping for your Kings tonight.
Yes, they're playing the Mavs in the play-in game. The winner goes on to play Friday against the Memphis Grizzlies, who lost to the Warriors last night. They would have to go to Memphis. So it could be winner Kings Mavs plays tonight against the Grizzlies on Friday, and then whoever wins that, it becomes the A seed and has to take on, wait for it, the 68-win Oklahoma City Thunder.
Are you embarrassed as an NBA guy that you had to steal from college basketball the whole play-in game thing?
I mean, Adam Silver was trying to change things up in the NBA. I mean, that's
what I'm saying. Are you?
I don't care for the in-season tournament, but
are you embarrassed?
Just
saying.
I think it adds intrigue. The play-in tournament could care less about, but this is more interesting. Now, is it? So okay, the Warrior fans would have had a great gripe because they get in, they win 48 games. If they would have lost, and then they lose the play-in game at home again, and they don't make the playoffs as a 48-win team, but a Kings team that was 2 games under makes it. I can see where they'd be upset.
So if the Kings win, they move on this round of play-in game. If they lose,
they're done.
They're gone.
Yeah, they move on to play Memphis, and then the winner of that is actually in the real playoffs.
Sacramento, you better hope you win, or it's just you and the Athletics for the rest of the summer.
Yep. Kings are a 4.5-point favorite according to some of the DraftKings Sportsbook with the over/under 213.5.
If the Kings win, I will bust out because I also bought myself a Light the Beam shirt. I will wear the Light the Beam shirt. I can't wear it before a play-in game.
Still, well, on this date 1 year ago, Kings in the play-in game beat
the Golden State Warriors.
The Warriors. So could be good juju for the Kings going into the game tonight.
I'm not wearing a Light the Beam shirt until you at least win a play-in game.
Well, this year, not ever this year, because Warriors were on the schneid until they won last night. That was their first play-in game win.
Don't compare. You look silly. You sound like Nate.
Oh, another guy not here to defend himself. He's off today.
Yeah, Nate was a little set. I had to warn Nate. Nate started getting a little because we had some Warrior people call in, and Nate started getting a little squirrely. It's like, Nate, teams that have won championships can really destroy you in the whole fandom debate thing when X teams won championship and team Y hasn't won anything or has never even been to the NBA Finals. It's not a debate you're going to win. Trust me, as a San Jose State graduate, I like to think of us as a football power, but sometimes you got to get in where you fit in, and you got to know what side of the street you can be on. And there's then there's some sides of the street you never want to go to. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, for sure. I was trying to see.
You got to know when to pick your battles.
I could be wrong, because ever since we stopped having to talk Warriors basketball all day long at our old job, I stopped diving into NBA on a nightly basis. But I'm pretty sure the Heat a few years ago were a play-in team, and they reached the NBA Finals with Jimmy Butler. I think that might be the only one that's ever done it. I could be wrong. I don't know. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, my poor NBA knowledge.
I stopped as I led the Warriors to their last 2 titles at Oracle. I stepped away after that.
When you passed the baton over to your good friend Kevin Durant.
Yes, I left. I went to work for the A's full time, and I left the radio station. I left my NBA. I left. You know what? I went out a winner.
Well, because the next year when you were gone, the Warriors ended up losing in the finals.
Correct.
That was the last game at Oracle.
I mean, at one point, when the Warriors finally won at Chase Center, but before that, I was able to say the Warriors have not left a championship since I left the broadcast.
Wait, say that again? They have not won a championship?
No, they won in San Francisco, but before that, they were 0 for without me.
Yeah. Well, they never reached it since like 75.
I was able to say I was the host of the pre-post, the call-in. Without me, they were 0 for.
My greatest line ever, and this is going inside on the industry, but whenever we were doing the parade and you ripped one of the guys from the station that was on it, you go, that's the best representation we have is him.
How about this? This is the best part. If you want to go inside, I had to be the MC. I was the main MC of 2 parades. And so we had all these reporters. We had all these people. The one that was right next to Lake Merritt, there was over 1 million people. Once again, no business doing basketball. I am not a basketball guy, never claimed to be a basketball guy, but somehow I got roped back into it because I did Warriors at KMBR years ago. I got roped back in. And next thing I'll never forget going, you got all these people who lived and died this championship. You got all these people that study the NBA. They love the NBA. I'm a baseball football guy. I was working for the A's and the Raiders. I got roped into Warriors, and I got to. So actually, probably bigger than doing the games was being the MC of the parades, because those shows got unbelievable ratings. I mean, it was the amount of people that listened to the parades on the radio was unreal. And the 2 parades, because their parade they did, the last one was in San Francisco. I did the last 2 parades. I was the lead. It was almost like the Rose Bowl parade, right? There's the lead guy, and he sends it out to all that was me. And I led the broadcast of the parades. And I had no business doing but we got this guy with it.
Yeah. I was on the float or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, it was Dibley.
It was Dibley. Yes.
It was Stan Dibley. We were able to have our own state. I like ripping people. It's part of my shtick, right? So I was able to say, this is the best our station could produce with Stan Dibley.
I'll never forget it. I was in the studio because they asked me as a producer of the morning show. Dibs was on the morning show. They're like, "Do you want to go to the parade?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. I don't want to be stuck in that chaos." It was a
madhouse. It was awful.
So
it was super hot. It was terrible.
I was helping out in the studio. Then I heard you say that, and all of us could not stop laughing in the studio when you ripped Dibs like that.
Once again, I had no business toasting those shows, but they're fun. They're fun. So good luck to the Kings tonight.
Yeah, Kings Mavs tonight. I think it's at 7. I'm assuming it's at 7. I should be on the way home and be able to listen.
Unless I can be at the Capitol Club at G1C, I'm not. Unless I'm.
We will have to go back there.
Oh, the sushi. Well, when they busted out the sushi, I was like, "This is big league." I mean, and by the way, the homemade chocolate chip cookies with the sea salt. Oh, yeah. Hey, Kings fans, Warrior fans, both are phenomenal. The buildings are phenomenal. The as the kids like to say, super bougie when you go to those places.
Yeah, and plus, hoop heads like Korak and I were really excited to see Jokic versus Sabonis. That's what we went for.
Yeah,
you can tell that's why I was really there.
And I'm sitting there going, how is Westbrook still in the league, and how is he a Nugget? I couldn't get over that. DeAndre Jordan still playing. How is he still playing?
Yeah, well, he didn't really play much, but he was
It
there.
just goes to show I've been out of the NBA for a while, and when I show up to my first NBA, I hadn't been to an NBA game in years, and I show up, I'm like, these old guys are still playing?
The guy that
collecting a check?
The guy that used to coach the Nuggets used to be the Kings coach, and he was fired by both organizations.
I walked in, like, where's Mike?
Franchises.
I used to interview Mike Brown. Where's Mike Brown?
Oh, yeah, Mike Brown, former Warrior.
And I used to interview Mark Malone.
Mike Malone.
Mark Malone.
Great Steeler quarterback.
Former Steeler quarterback out of?
USC.
Arizona State. Mike Malone. I used to interview Mike Malone and Mike Brown. I was excited to see both of them. Mike Brown been fired months ago, and Malone just got fired.
Yeah, so it's 2 interim coaches.
No, it was funny. It was like a.
Oh, it was Adelman's son was coaching the Nuggets.
It was literally a couple months ago where there was like highlights of a Kings thing, and I went, Brown got fired?
Yeah.
That was early in the season, right? They fired him?
Yeah, Brown got fired. They traded away De'Aaron Fox, and yet here they made the play-in game still.
I'm still a Rick Adelman, Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic King fan.
Vladdy, Brad Miller, Bobby Jackson.
Vladdy smoking cigarettes at halftime. Well, I now watch, you want to know how just the circle of life. Andre Stojakovic, my daughter's a cheerleader at Cal, so I went to a lot of Cal basketball games this year. And I at a Carmichael, California, Andre Stojakovic on the Cal Bears. I got to watch him a lot.
He had a great ACC tournament run there.
He came alive. I'm hoping that's what you see going forward. Okay.
We got a few minutes till we play our Ron Darling interview, finally.
Do I go to it now? I mean,
We've
covered everything today, right? Everybody's got Soda King, Soda Pop.
Soda Pop, I said for a home run, it's a Sody Pop.
Sody Pop.
Yeah.
Tyler Soderstrom. I mean, are we looking at what could be one of the all-time great years in athletics franchise history? Remember, this goes back to 1901. You start talking about guys like Jimmy Fox. You start talking about Mark McGuire, Reggie Jackson. I mean, Marcus Simeon just had one of the all-time great years. Jason Giambi, Miguel Tejada, Jose Canseco, Ricky Henderson.
I mean, Chris Davis had big years. I know batting average, but he still had 3 straight years of 40 home
I don't
runs.
really think anybody really in Kansas City. Did anybody in Kansas City?
No.
Who else in Philadelphia? I know I'm missing
Al
somebody.
Simmons, probably.
Nap Lajoie.
Mickey Cochran.
I mean, they're Hall of Famers.
Eddie Collins.
You got to remember, those Philadelphia A's were ballers back in the early 1900s.
I'm sure Connie Mack did something big back then.
Connie Mack wearing a suit. How it should be. Why are managers and coaches, why do we put old men in suits? You don't see basketball head coaches or football head coaches wearing the same things the players wear.
Well, I think the only
hockey guys are in suits.
The hockey's the only sport that does suits anymore.
Yeah, suits is a little too much. But that's what I'm saying. Why do you put an old man and have stirrups on? I don't get it.
That's why
should be in sweats.
That's why every time we go to the winter meetings, people go, well, the look now is Lululemons and quarter zips. That's what the NBA adopted during the COVID season.
You could have a Lululemon sponsor, and that's what yeah.
And you wear a team quarter zip.
Middle-aged men in Lululemon pants. That is the look at the baseball winter meetings. And you fit right in.
Yeah, well, I'm not middle-aged yet. But
you fit. We get 35,
36 now.
I think that's, you're right. Your testosterone days are over too, my friend.
Well, I do Lululemon a little bit, but I switched to a different brand, but they're just as nice.
Where are the winter meetings next year?
Orlando, I believe.
Orlando.
Shout out to Magic. They won the play-in game yesterday. They won their division and had to play a play-in game.
I've been to Orlando twice.
Never been. Actually, I have. As a kid, I went to Disney World.
Yeah, it's
I was 2. Don't ask me what happened.
But Sody's incredible. Off to what could be. I mean, he rides it. Light goes on. There will be some blips in the road, but if truly the light has gone on, we could be looking at one of the historic years in franchise history. Lawrence Butler's getting hot at the leadoff spot. Jacob Wilson got another hit. A's got the win, a nice blowout win. They needed something like this, a blowout win. By the way, run differential, it was the great Billy Bean. When I used to do the Billy Bean show, he always looked at run differential. Right now, the A's run differential is the same as the first place Rangers. So they've gotten that run differential back to a little more respectability at minus 15. Got to get a lot better.
It was still the second worst going into yesterday behind only the rock pile. So it's good to see it's going.
But, you've had stiff competition. Now, if you beat up on some of the bad teams a little bit, and you can turn that around, I mean, ideally, you want to come around 500 or be over 500 by the time this trip ends.
Yeah, no, and you got to play the Brewers this weekend, which will be a tough test because you want to count the Brewers out already, like you do every year.
Yeah,
I won't do that yet. Aren't they still in first place?
No, Cubs are. They're in third place.
Oh, the Cubs win again today. They beat the Padres again.
They're playing right now. Go Cubs, go! Go Cubs, go!
Well, Kyle Tucker.
Hey, Chicago.
What do you say? Cubs are going to win today.
Yeah, there you go.
Fly the W. All right, let's get to Ron Darling.
Cubs are a cool organization. You got to admit.
Yeah, sure.
Wrigley Field's incredible.
Haven't been, but I want to go.
Oh, my God. If you want to drink at a baseball game, all the bars around Wrigley, pretty cool.
Wrigleyville, yeah, that's what I've heard.
It is. Cubs are a cool organization. You know who's not?
The White Sox?
The White Sox. Oh, my God. Ballpark, neighborhood. What do they have going for them?
That's a great question. I don't know.
What Reinsdorf wants out the owner. They don't. I mean,
they want a new ballpark. They have a new manager.
What are the White Sox at? You know what?
Good farm system.
Take it to these guys. Ron Darling, World Series champion, terrific career with the Mets. Pitched for the Athletics, turned broadcaster. Their broadcast team with the Mets. When we have these votes, best broadcast teams. I mean, Keith Hernandez is phenomenal. He's a great player himself. Should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yep. But Darling and Hernandez, it doesn't get any better than that. Love him on MLB Network, especially MLB Now. We talk about that show all the time, how much we love it. He's an author. He's the man. And what was cool about this interview is that Steve Sachs had done TV with Ron Darling, but they go way, way back. They played against each other in Double-A. So it makes our game special. It's the relationships. The relationships in baseball make it special. Not only what you saw last night with Johnny D getting the foul ball, that rare, raw, just wonderful human emotion that we got with Johnny Doskow and Chris Carey right here on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network. That'll live forever. That, and then just the relationships. You got two guys that have been around a long time, a lot of respect for each other. Here we are in West Sacramento. It's Steve Sachs, two-time World Series champion, Ron Darling, World Series champion, before the A's would take on the Mets. By the way, we are not on tomorrow. It is a 11 a.m. start. We'll have A's Cast on NBC at 10:30, and we're back Friday at what time?
2:30.
Back Friday at 2:30, A's Cast Live. Who's joining us?
Well, Mark Kotze, we assume.
That's right, the manager.
Justin Sterner, yes. A's reliever.
Pack day, taking on the Brew Crew. But here is the great Ron Darling. Cast Live. He's a former Athletic, and everybody knows his broadcasting career is absolutely taken off. A World Series champion. The great Ron Darling is with us here on the set here at the ballpark in West Sacramento. It is great to have you. We had you last year. We had you on video, but it's awesome to have you in person.
Thank you so much for having me, and I feel so great being next to Steve. You know, Steve and you didn't, but I started my career. First time I was ever on TV, it was next to this guy.
That's right.
And he taught me a great lesson. When we did this show, it was a little show in Los Angeles, and he had so much fun doing it. I try to have the same fun when I'm doing my gigs now.
You know, when I think about bringing you out here and just how long you guys have known each other, I want the viewers to understand. When you first walked up, we're talking about you leave Yale, you're playing in the Mets system, and you're playing against Steve Sachs and his brother in Double-A. All these years later, here we are doing TV.
Well, Steve was saying that I pitched one of the first games I ever pitched was against the San Antonio team. Yeah. I remember being so jealous because he was on the same team as his brother. How good is that? But literally, this is the funniest thing ever. 1981 was when the players were on strike. Right. So I was drafted. First game, one of the first games I ever pitched in was the All-Star game, the Double-A All-Star game, because they were just trying to bring some faces to minor league baseball. Yeah. And I don't know how I got through that inning because I was nervous and all that stuff. But he was the stud in that league that year.
Hey, Ron, thank you. And Ron, so good to be with you. And we go back a long ways. And one of my first gigs I ever did was with Ron on the National Sports Report after retirement. But Ron, I wanted to ask you, some of the things that have happened in just your tenure in baseball through playing and being a broadcaster as well, there's so many changes that have happened, especially in the last couple of years. Where do you see the evolution right now of baseball going? I mean, it's happening pretty quickly, from rules changes to size of players to velocity, and then all these numbers that they're throwing at us.
The game has never seen better athletes or bigger athletes than it does right now. Instinctually, though, I don't think the game is as it used to be. You see a lot of guys that, they've spent a lot of time in the cage. I don't know if they've spent as much time taking ground balls and all that stuff. But I think in our day, only baseball people ran baseball. It was ex-players. It was ex-general managers.
Yes.
That's the only people. And they wouldn't allow anyone else to be a part of it. Now the analytics people kind of run baseball, and they don't really have an affiliation for the baseball people either. So I think that the only way baseball will always be at its best is that we have a great mixture of the people that play the game with the people that are really smart and produce all this brilliant information. The only thing that, that doesn't alarm me, but it's just, unless the game has really changed, the guys I played with, all that information is hard to really take in and use.
Yes.
Like really, making baseball simpler is the best way for the athlete, I think, to thrive.
I agree.
That is, and it's Masters weekend, right? And we're thinking about golf, and they talk so much about how when guys are just living on the range with TrackMan and they start losing the feel of how to play the game, you get that sense in our game now. As you mentioned, how can one human being take all of that information and apply it when it's already so hard to play, especially hitting when you're facing the velocity now?
I think there are some guys that are probably so prescient that they can apply all that stuff, but very few of those guys. And when it comes to baseball and stuff, I think it's really hard to work on your mechanics of your swing or the mechanics of you throwing. But then once you get on the field and the bell rings, it's dog eat dog, right? It's just competition.
Right.
It's like, I'm better than you. I'm going to beat you. And I think you can't lose that. And analytics, you don't know how it goes. Like in 92, I remember we were in spring training, and the late, great Dave Henderson, former athletic center fielder, and they finally were getting computers that were tracing the velocity, your ball, spin, and all of that. And they had my spring training start, and I asked Hendu, I said, what do you think of all this information? What do you think that just said about my outing today? He said, I think you're going to get released. Which Hendu, he had that great personality.
Yes.
And I was like, yes, I mean, all these numbers don't really show you that really it's a game of guts.
Yes, I agree. And when it comes down to it, it's just they're playing baseball, And Ron, I wanted to ask you about striking a balance with the players today. They get to the ballpark at noon. They've got video cues. They've got different time slots and where they're going to the cage. Sometimes they nix that and they're on the field, then they're not on the field. There's so many different aspects of the game now besides, I can tell you, when we were in Montreal and we played, I remember the itinerary. Bus was at 5 o'clock.
That's right.
You got there, you hit at 6, and the game was at 7:10, and that was it. They're at the ballpark at noon now. Isn't it important to strike a life balance between the two?
100%. And if I were managing a team, I would honestly have moments during the year where you stayed home with your family. Do not come to the ballpark.
Yes.
The locker room's going to be locked. Keith Hernandez, who I work with, one of our great players of our generation.
Absolutely.
He was on the bus at 5 o'clock every day. He got to the ballpark. He'd sit and have a cup of coffee. He'd take a few swings and take a few ground balls, and he was ready to go. He told me he would be fearful in today's game as a young player that if he just tried to be the free spirit that he was and do his own thing, that he might be ostracized.
Wow.
That he's not doing the game plan of everyone else.
Well, last night we were looking down and we saw some Ron Darling jerseys. And I was thinking about this going, you think about your career, obviously a great pitcher, a World Series champion. Then you go into broadcasting. You guys are always rated as the top broadcast in baseball. I love you on MLB Network.
Absolutely.
Somebody's got to keep our buddy Brian Kinney in check on MLB Now. Talking about analytics, but just talk about your career. Because a lot of A's fans remember you as a pitcher, but just talk about how your overall career from a player to a broadcaster. It's really been one of the better careers we have seen.
That's pretty funny you say that about Brian Kinney. I think my role on MLB Now is as soon as they've delivered everything, my role is to say, well, as a former player, they don't really look at it that way. So I think that I preface every statement like that. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just so fortunate. I mean, at some point, I'm getting paid to watch baseball games. Is there a better job in the world? I'm sitting next to two buddies that I do the games with. How did it happen? It definitely does take hard work. I think you have to be on camera a lot. Steve knows this. The more you're on camera, you know it. The more you can be yourself. The more you can be yourself, then really good stuff starts coming out. The third part of it, do people like you? I'm not in charge of that.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
right.
hard part. That's really the hard
That's
part
right.
is whether people like you or not. And I think that the last part of the business of it is that we got a lot of people behind the cameras here. They're just as important as we are. Like the people behind the camera could maybe do our job. I know we can't do their job.
Yeah.
So
Right.
they're
That's right.
right. So they're
right.
really important. So
That's
I think
right.
if you treat it like a family and a collaboration between all of us, then at the end everyone's satisfied.
Yeah. Right. I want to ask you a quick one specifically about this team. It kind of been on a roller coaster. Last year maybe not expectations. All the money that was spent, it's well known.
Yeah.
But this team seems to be now, when you look at the numbers and you watch this team interact with one another, you see that they're at the top in the bullpen and the in ERA, as well as the starters collectively at a 2.10. Hitting is off the chart. This team really seems to be settling and going full circle now. I mean, this is a fearful club for some ball clubs.
That's spot on. I think everything starts at the top, right? So you got to start with Mark Kotze.
Yeah.
Kotze. He is a pro through and through, a great guy through and through, and he's been put in this spot for a reason, to make sure that these young players thrive and get better.
Mm-hmm.
The talent on this team, just watching him last night, Soderstrom takes an offer. It didn't look like an offer to me.
No.
I mean, there was balls rocketing off his bat
Yeah.
all night long. So between Wilson and Soderstrom, Langoliers, I'm a huge fan of. I didn't know he ran like he runs. He
Really run.
He really can run for a catcher. So you have all of this young talent, young core of everyday players, because pitching, you can go out and get a Severino.
Yeah.
You can go get some pitching. But core young players that you have control of are the promised land for any organization. This team's going to get much better really quickly. It might not always produce wins right away, because they're going to have to learn how to kind of win every day, find a way to win. But they have all the pieces that this could be the time in the middle 2000s or late 80s, early 90s where they can return to form.
Yeah, probably.
Let's end on this. Obviously, this means a lot to my partner because he grew up here in West Sacramento. It's your first trip here, getting to see the ballpark, getting to see the change. What are your first thoughts on the Athletics playing here?
Well, when I was playing for the Oakland A's, after I retired, I used to bring my two older boys, and we would come to minor league games here.
Oh.
And I just loved it. At those point, I just retired, and I don't know if you felt this way. When you retire, you don't really retire. They kind of retire you.
Yeah.
And you're kind of betrayed by the calendar. So the first 3 to 5 years after you're retired, you don't really want to see the big league games because you don't want to see someone you played with and they're like, hey, what are you doing? You're not playing anymore. So you go to the minor league games and you get a feel for what it was like when baseball was innocent and you're in a bus and you're going 20 hours and you have to have the guts and the fortitude to get a hit or 3 hits that night or whatever, or strike some people out. I think this is really great for the people of West Sacramento. I think it's great for the area that, there's a lot of fans here that used to travel the hour and a half, 2 hours down and back. They'll go see an A's game. It's not only that they get to see this young, beautiful core that Oakland is the formatting here in Oakland, but more importantly, whether you like it or not, Alonso and Lindor and Soto come in. That's good. People love to see that.
Yes.
I went to the Kings game the other night against Denver. I'd never seen Jokic play before.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like Shaq who can dribble. He just bullies people out of the way. That's great. Whenever you can bring that kind of entertainment to a smaller city, it's good for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, as a player, as a broadcaster, thrown as an author, you've had a great baseball life, and we always appreciate your time. Thank you for stopping by, and have a great call this weekend.
Hey, guys, anytime you call on me, I'm here for you too. Thank you,
Ronnie.
Appreciate it,
Thank you,
man.
buddy.
You're the best.
Appreciate it.
When it it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is a 7-time Triple Crown Award winner, Ford Motor Company's highest honor for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall. FolsomLakeFord.com.
This has been a presentation of